Here comes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Eagle. How we doing, Josh?
Just a little bit better from the 5 minutes ago when we recorded our last episode, but
Yeah. If you are looking for our reaction of the referees of Oklahoma playing the Auburn Tigers, go ahead and click that banner up there at the top. It'll take you to that reaction episode. We didn't spend the entire time talking about the referees, but there was a good chunk that we did talk about
a
it.
good bit, yeah.
But
More
we
so
are
from me than you.
Yeah. You needed to exercise some of those demons, rightly so, like a lot of Auburn
I
fans.
did.
I'm still feeling it as well, but it is what it is, and we had plenty of opportunities that we could have taken a hold of, and we didn't. So, but we're moving on to Texas A&M. We're going away for the second time in a row. We are going to College Station, Texas. The game is going to be again at 2:30. This time on ESPN. And so, Josh, here we are, two fans, have no connection to the team other than our fandom, and we're letting that Oklahoma loss affect us really a lot.
Big time.
So
Way too
so
much.
how does Auburn, the team, prevent Oklahoma from beating them twice, and by doing that, allowing Texas A&M to get a win?
I feel like the best way is we're not playing in Norman, and we're not playing against the Heisman favorite anymore. I feel like that had a big part of it. But Marcel Reed is one hell of a quarterback, man. I think he's better than John Mateer on the field. Maybe not so much on paper, even though he's thrown 2 less interceptions than John Mateer. I do think this Texas A&M team is really good. Mike Elko has definitely done better things with this team than I was truly expecting him to. So I don't think this is going to be an easy game. I think it's just going to be an offensive game, if anything.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, we're going to talk about defense here in a little bit, but basically, in order for us to allow this Oklahoma loss to move on, I agree. We're thankfully not going to be playing in Norman. We're thankfully not going to have those same refs. There is no way in hell the SEC puts that team
No.
in our game again. There would be absolute riots. Hugh Freeze may go out there and say, well, we're not playing the game if those same refs show up. We may just forfeit. And you know what? I probably wouldn't blame them, to be perfectly honest. But honestly, dude, I don't think Marcel Reed is as good as John Mateer. John Mateer had that clutch gene in him. Marcel Reed has not shown that in my eyes. They're going to be looking for revenge. Okay, I mean they got down big last year to Auburn, and ended up coming back and losing in an overtime stunner that was just absolutely phenomenal last year. And so you got to imagine that they are looking to rebound. And the bad news is they did not play anyone this last week and got to rest and got to prepare for Auburn for 2 weeks rather than the one. So uh, it really, in order for us to come out of College Station with a W, this team has to prepare like they did against Oklahoma, and they have to be laser focused. Uh, you know, the one thing I can say about Jackson Arnold right now is the dude does not let the previous play affect him. And so I would imagine he doesn't let the previous game affect him either. And so I expect him to come out there as if nothing is wrong and to just be himself. And I think that I can count on that. If anything, I can definitely count on that. But this Auburn team has really got to put it behind them, and the defense has got to continue to play lights out. And speaking of the defense, how does Auburn stop A&M from scoring 40 plus points? Because they have scored they have scored 40 or more points in every game this year, including against the vaunted 1-2 Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I mean, come on.
I think
Runner up to last year's national title. team, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I mean, the Golden Domes. How do you put 40 on that? How do you stop that team that
It's
put
because
40
it's
on
because
them?
Notre Dame is just not good. But I think the best way to prevent no Texas A&M and Marcel Reed from scoring 40 plus points in this game is getting to their quarterback and sacking him,
Mm-hmm.
which is not going to be a very easy thing. Because guess how many sacks Texas A&M has given up this season on Marcel Reed?
I'm actually not even sure about this. Please
They've
enlighten me.
given up one sack
Oof.
on Marcel Reed, two total sacks on the season. Marcel Reed
Okay.
has 9 passing touchdowns, 1 interception with a rushing touchdown, and I think 120 something rushing yards on the season,
Right.
142 rushing yards on the season. The best way to prevent them from scoring that many points is getting to the quarterback. We only had
Okay.
one sack last week against Oklahoma. Um, I feel like it's going to be hard against this Texas A&M offensive line. I think this offensive line is full of a bunch of big uglies, and they're good at what they do. But I also have faith in our defensive line. We have a bunch of big uglies on our defensive line who are good at what they do.
Yeah.
Um, it's going to be up to our defensive line to muddy this game up, though. If we can't put pressure on Marcel Reed's going to do Marcel Reed things and score points.
That's fair. The defensive line, say what you will about Auburn's defense in the first 3 games of the year. Auburn's defensive line has showed up in every game,
It's
leading
top 5 in the nation.
up until
Period.
last week. I don't know where we stand now, but we led the SEC in tackles for a loss. We were putting pressure on quarterbacks left and right. And Josh, we have seen a mobile quarterback in every game so far this year. Marcel Reed is a very talented mobile quarterback, but we have seen moments where he has not hit the mark. So I think if our secondary can play lights out like they did against Oklahoma, um, I have a lot of faith that they're going to be able to continue to have that momentum that we saw in the Oklahoma game. I I think we're going to create some turnovers. We may have multiple turnovers in this game that actually are counted and actually stand. Um, and so I think this is the toughest defense that Texas A&M is going to see to date.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think they don't score 40. I don't see them scoring more than 35. And that's if they win the game. If they come in and win the game, they're scoring 35 or less. That's just plain and simple. That's just the way it's going to be. Okay? Because Auburn is going to come out and we're going to run the ball. We didn't do a very good job running in the first half of the Oklahoma game. And so I foresee us coming out and just running it down A&M's throat. Now, the coaching staff may have different point of view because Cam Coleman torched Texas A&M last year, and Cam Coleman got warmed up against Oklahoma. We let him out of his cage. They had him locked away, barely doing anything in the first 3 games, and they let him out in the Oklahoma game, and I feel like they might let him out also in this game. But we'll see. I'm thinking they try to control the time of possession and just limit how many touches and how many possessions A&M is going to get because 40 points a game average is ridiculous, Josh.
It's kind of crazy. It just if they do get that high in scoring, I just don't think Auburn is going to
Mm,
have a
yeah,
snowball's chance in hell. I mean, I do think that Auburn is going to try to run down Texas A&M's throat. They allowed 136 rushing yards against Notre Dame. The most shocking one to me though is UTSA. They allowed 203 rushing yards to UTSA, and that's 6.2 yards a carry.
yeah,
And Texas A&M also isn't running it the best either. They also only had 108 rushing yards against UTSA, and their leading rusher. I mean, he only has 168 rushing yards on the season. Um, this team, I think, is a one trick pony team, in terms of they're only one dimensional. I feel yes, they have a mobile quarterback and he's going to get his yardage, but they're definitely more of an air raid offense, in my opinion, or they have a lot more passing play calls than they do running play calls. But I know I picked Auburn to lose before the season started against Texas A&M, mainly because we're on the road, and I think I'm going to switch that up because I also chose Auburn to beat Oklahoma in our preseason because I didn't believe in this Oklahoma team,
Yeah.
and my record would have stood if we weren't cheated by the refs. But I feel like there's just a new fire in the bellies of our players after that game, and I have a hard time seeing our players throwing in the towel to lose again on the road against a top 10 team in Texas A&M. So I mean,
Well said.
I think it's going to be a more defensive battle. I'm not impressed with Texas A&M's defense, but at this point, I'm also not super impressed with Jackson Arnold,
You said the
especially
same
from
thing
last
about
week.
Oklahoma's defense. Let's not forget that, though.
Yes, that's true. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong again,
I don't think
and
you're
I'll
wrong
admit
this
it.
time.
But I think it's going to be more of a defensive game because of the offensive struggles on both sides of the ball. Auburn's going to be able to dial in on that passing a lot sooner because we all know they're dialed in on rushing. And I feel like Texas A&M is going to send a lot of pressure on Jackson Arnold to try to fluster him, or they're going to drop a lot more in coverage to make him hold on to that ball and create more coverage sacks. I feel like it's going to be a lower scoring game, probably in the mid to low 20s for either team. But I do think Auburn can come in and win this game to get them back in, at the number 23 spot after beating number 9 Texas A&M.
Yeah. Okay. Well, kudos to you because I couldn't have said that any better, man. Who is going to be your impact player? Let's start out with the defensive side of the ball for you. Impact player.
Oh my gosh. Every week it's like, oh, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say that. And it ends up being the wrong freaking thing.
Sure.
Um, I'm going to go with the secondary, and I'm going to say either Champ Anthony or Sylvester Smith.
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
I think a lot of our secondary problems stem from our safeties, and I'm hoping this is the game where our safeties really dial it in.
Okay. Um, I on the defensive side of the ball, if memory serves, this kind of felt like the coming out party for DeMarcus Riddick last year, and I think it's going to be a welcome to your second year, DeMarcus Riddick party
Let's hope.
to this week. And so I think they're going to allow DeMarcus to pin his ears back and just go after Marcel Reed. It
He
worked
was able to
last
keep up
year.
with them really well last year.
Yeah, and so I think it's going to work this year. And so for me, my pick is Demarcus Riddick, who hasn't had the strongest second season on the Plains, but he is having an impactful one right now. So who is your offensive impact player?
I'm going offensive 1A and offense 1B, and this is the
Hmm,
Jeremiah Cobb and Damari Alston game. It
okay,
it truly, truly is. I mean, the proof is in the pudding on Texas A&M's defense. They allow rushing yards.
yeah.
They just do, and we have rushers. It's this
Yep.
Jeremiah
And
Cobb
they
and
don't have a
Damari Alston
defensive
game.
line like Oklahoma does. Let's just be honest.
No, no.
Yeah, let's just be honest.
They have 4 sacks on the season.
Yeah. Here's my thing. Um, Texas A&M is watching that Oklahoma game and they see what Cam Coleman did, and I think they're saying, I think Baylor probably had the best idea there, but we can do better stopping the run. And so I think you're going to see some some two high safeties, maybe play a little bit closer to the box. I don't know, but I think that they're going to try to overcompensate and try to take away this passing game like every other team has done so far this year, and I do think that our offensive line can open up some running lanes specifically for Jeremiah Cobb. I think he is
Yes.
going to have a monster game. Considering the fact that he was the only one that could really get going against Oklahoma in the running game, I got to think that he'll eat Texas A&M alive. And so for me, I'm thinking Jeremiah Cobb. Josh, it's been a tough day. We're recording this on Monday. It's been a tough day all around with the loss on Saturday, with the statement that the SEC put out, and then the fact that Bruce Pearl retired on Monday as well. It's been a rough start to the week, but I am hoping that this Auburn football team can put us to bed in a much better mood come Saturday. And so, with that being said, man, War Eagle.
War damn Eagle. Also, I misspoke on Texas A&M sacks for the season. I said they have 4, they have 9. I misspoke. I corrected myself. I was wrong. It's okay. But War Eagle.
War Eagle, man.
There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.